Hey guys, it's Koopa. Just real quick before this week's episode starts with Camalange. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up that we were having some technical difficulties with this episode this week. Unfortunately, Discord was kind of a bitch to work with. This week, we're looking into solutions of how to mitigate that in future episodes. So I apologize if this episode isn't up to the snuff of other episodes we've done in the past, but I promise that it's still very much listenable. So please enjoy this week's episode with our repeat guest, once again, Mr. Camalange. So have fun and stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Koop'd podcast. The podcast that is saving up all of their money to buy a Vespa this summer. As always, folks, my name is Koopa, and each week I sit down with one of my friends and we talk about all the fun happenings of pop culture this past week. And boy, let me tell you, we had quite a week this past week. A lot of stuff happening. And listen, I couldn't do it alone. There's a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog relevant news happening this week, akin to a couple of weeks ago, and I had to bring him back. You know him, you love him. He's Crunchyroll man, Sonic man extraordinaire. You know him, you love him, and he's coming back 20 episodes later. How about that? We made it that far without Cam's assistance in between that time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the podcast, Mr. Camalange. How are you doing today, sir?
What's up, gamers? I'm surprised you managed to go this far without my help. I really didn't think you had it in you.
Honestly, same. Like it was a lot of it was a lot of hard work, dedication, begging my friends in their Discord DMs to acknowledge my existence for at least a couple of hours out of the day. So
I can only imagine how difficult that was.
It was something. It was something. But yeah, if you're new to these parts of the woods, Cam. Once we got this thing off the ground back in, I think it was January, we started it. I started doing this. Time is a flat circle still, despite the fact that most aspects of human life is returning to somewhat normal since last time.
Yeah, it's flat, just like the Earth.
Yeah, it's oh boy. Well, good night, everybody. That's gonna be our show for this week. Please make sure to tune in and yeah, just kidding. Cut the outro.
Oh no, I've been canceled. I was just kidding.
Okay, we accept that apology here. But
good,
yeah,
'cause I didn't apologize.
You son of a bitch. Yeah, so like I mentioned at the top, and if you're watching on YouTube and you see the title of our podcast across podcasting platforms, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you may be listening to us on, Sonic the Hedgehog had a birthday this past week, and we've spent. There was a podcast I did a couple weeks ago. We kind of surface level touched on, some of the Sonic stuff with fellow Sonic man, Pow Pow. So go back and listen to that episode if you're into that. And also, Luca came out about a week ago as the recording of this podcast. And, not a lot of my film friends had been watching that, but I know Cam is sort of a Pixar guy. And when we were, Cam, it was funny. When I asked you to do this show, Luca was kind of like the hot topic of like the conversation is what we were gonna kind of like build the podcast around, but then Sonic the Hedgehog decided to be like, hey, hold my chili dog.
Yeah, as always, Sonic the Hedgehog taking priority in any aspect of my life. So yeah, I think just like and Kyle, when you first reached out to me, you were like, yeah, like, do you want to talk about Luca? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I think just like within days I was like, they just all the Sonic news has dropped, and we'd be stupid to not talk about it. So, we'll touch on Luca as well. I actually enjoyed that film more than I thought I was going to. But yeah, I mean Sonic.
Yeah. So before we get into all the fun stuff, I am inclined to ask you, sir, what have you been up to since the last time you have debuted on our podcast? You are now back on your other coast as of compared to last time.
Yeah, I'm back in on the West Coast. I'm back in my apartment, got my microphone, so that's a plus. But yeah, I don't know, man. Since we last talked, I guess the pandemic is kind of over. It's not really over, but people are acting like it is, so things are kind of opening back up again. So that's probably the biggest difference. I'm still working from home. Uh, I think the saddest thing about quarantine kind of like starting to end is that I've realized that my life is not that much different.
I totally feel that. Like, compared to where we were, like, even like a few weeks ago, like recording podcasts, I was like, oh my God, like things are starting to like happen again in the world. And like, I'm not really sure how I feel about it quite yet. Like, are you finding it weird to like integrate back into like normal life again? Cause like, I'm still finding it very, very awkward to adjust to.
Yeah, I found something like I have like I caught up with a friend and got lunch. Well, we got dinner and that was nice. So like indoor dining, whoa.
Yeah.
So I did that and that felt surprisingly normal. But I think like certain stuff I'd probably still be hesitant about, and I still wear my mask pretty much everywhere I go. I did. I think the most exciting thing I've done is I went to LA last weekend, and I was visiting a friend of the show, Jared.
Ooh.
I say friend of the show, but it's just our friend.
By proxy, he's a friend of our show.
Yeah, exactly. So I spent the weekend with him, and that was great. We went to the movies. That was my first time back to the movies. That was exciting. We saw the Sparks Brothers. That was a movie, and I also went to, I forget what the exact name of the place is called. Jared just calls it the Gardens, but there's this place in LA that just has like there's like Japan themed gardens and China themed gardens. There's like rose gardens and all kinds of stuff there to see. So it was nice to kind of be in the LA heat and the sun and with amongst nature. I haven't done that in like a year. So and most of that time, since it was outdoors and it wasn't like super congested, I kept my mask off because I was like, I'm vaccinated, whatever. They had a policy that if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. But I mostly wear my mask because that whole, I'll try not to get too political here, but that whole enforcement of like, yeah, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. But if you aren't vaccinated, we highly encourage you wear one. I'm like, so that just means everyone's gonna.
Yeah,
all the people that are vaccinated are going to be scared of the people that are walking around unvaccinated with their masks off. So all the vaccinated people are going to be wearing their masks still.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, you know what? That whole thing, like, and again, I highly recommend everybody do their own research, and if you feel inclined to do so, definitely get vaccinated. If you choose not to, then that's your choice. But like, it's one of those things where I feel like whenever I walk outside and like you, I wear my mask in places where I feel like it's appropriate for me to do so. Like if I'm like in a grocery store, like within like close confines of like other people, like it's just one of those things I'll just feel more comfortable doing it because like you, I am also fully vaxxed up. My cell service still sucks, so I mean,
yeah, no, it didn't really help.
Yeah, I'd hate to see it, but it's one of those things where it's like I feel like I'm constantly in a state of like watching a murder mystery show, and like that might also be even the fact I've been binge watching Mayor of Easttown the past week, and like I'm just on edge about everything, and I just don't trust anyone. So like it's one of those things where it's just like that person did it, no, that person did it, and this person did it. So it's just like I'm like jumping through all these hoops in my brain where I'm just like, ooh, like my maybe it's best if I just like stay inside a little bit longer, but.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, it's also one of those things where it's like it is kind of nice to like do some other things that like you haven't really been able to do in a bit. Like I've been able to like go out to dinner and feel all right, whether it be with my friends or. What's up?
Oh, you cut out for a second there.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Sorry.
Hey, there we go. Live editing, people. It's it's fun here, but yeah, like going out to restaurants and stuff is like still something that's gonna take some getting used to again. Obviously, going back to the movies is something I very much plan to do so. When it's safe, and I've gone to the movies like a couple of times, like since the pandemic has like started. We actually saw a movie together, which is something new that we can update the folks on. We rented out a theater with our friends to watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and I gotta say, as big as a year as 2021 has been for some of our other favorite things, 2020 was a big year for Scott Pilgrim versus the World, coming in its 10th anniversary year.
Yeah, that was like, gosh, I think that was like December when we rented out the theater, but
Was it?
it
I
was
feel like it
only,
was sooner than that.
was it? I'm
Maybe? I don't
trying
remember.
to remember. Maybe it was.
Time
I
was a
don't
flat
remember.
circle,
Yeah,
like we
it's my
mentioned.
sense of, I'm pretty sure, I thought it was because I came back to Pennsylvania around like November-ish.
Maybe that was
But maybe
pre-podcast.
I thought it was pre-podcast, but maybe
You might
I
be
could be
right.
wrong. Like you said, time is fake, so I have no sense of anything that happened in 2020. I have no idea like where on the calendar it actually happened. But yeah, but anyway, it was like limited capacity, so it was just like 10 of us who we like trusted to not be stupid. Uh, so we were smart about it, but it was like that, like just doing that one thing was like such a nice break from the disaster that that year was. And I think like just now, even though things aren't perfect, like we're vaccinated. The people that like I run with are all vaccinated. So I feel comfortable being like in those kind of groups without my mask on, but it's really like like you said, I highly encourage people to get vaccinated. You can't force anyone to do anything. I don't think it should be forced, but I just think that the rollout was kind of weak. Like we were so close to the finish line, and then they were just like, "Oh, it's fair game. Anyone can go outside." And I was like, "No!" Like we're so like not even half of the population was vaccinated yet. Like we're so close. But anyway, I'll try to avoid going on that tangent. But Scott Pilgrim, between the re-release of the video game that was just trapped on like was it like Microsoft Store or some shit
I
and
think it was
was
like the
like
Xbox
gone.
Live Arcade or some crap like
Yeah,
that.
that's what it was. Yeah, it was like Xbox Live Arcade, I think, and then that disappeared forever. So to have that re-release is really exciting. I still haven't gotten my physical copy,
Oh,
uh,
same.
but I did order it. So that'll be a nice surprise when that shows up. And they also released the I forget the name of the song, but the Brie Larson track from the movie.
Yes.
They released like that as a full single, and that was pretty amazing. They also had um the table read with the cast during quarantine, and that brought a smile to my face.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think the song is Black Sheep, if I'm correct.
That
Uh,
sounds right. That sounds right.
yeah. Also, where does where does bands like Sex Bomb and others rank in terms of like best fake bands in like movies and stuff?
I think they're pretty high up there, but I think what's funny about Sex Bomb is my trivia is failing me today, but the band that like plays a Sex Bomb for the movie, like part of the direction for them was to like they had to find the right balance of sounding good but not too good. And I think they nailed it.
Yeah. Honestly, I agree, and it felt so good to like experience that movie in a movie theater. Like I never saw Scott Pilgrim versus the World in a theater, but that movie is like one of my favorite movies of all time, and like to be able to experience like that in a big screen in a theater with like some of our closest friends, it was a great kind of break away from what was like kind of a mess of a year of 2020, like you said before. So it was great, and I hope I, I'm a big fan of anniversary re-releases in theaters, so please continue to make that a thing.
Yeah, I Scott Pilgrim is definitely like a top three, top five movie for me. And it's such a bummer. I'm glad that we could see it together in theaters, but like the first time I ever saw Scott Pilgrim was actually in theaters, and it's no exaggeration, one of the greatest movie going experiences I ever had in my entire life. It was like well, just a bunch of like this was back in high school, so it was one of those things where we just kind of invited everybody to go see Scott Pilgrim, and then like everybody showed up and then some. Like we even had a friend who had recently moved away from our town, like to a different state, and just happened to be back in town that weekend, so he came to see the movie with us. Like it was just a wild night, and we all loved the movie. Like no one was like, it was okay. We all loved it. So it was just like we just had an absolute blast. And then we went to Red Robin after. Just some really great high school highlights. So that movie just has such a special place in my heart. So being able to like go see it in the theater again with y'all was just like it was the perfect movie for it. I really love it.
Yeah, listen, I love that, and I found myself thinking a lot about like movie going experiences that I wish I could like rebottle and like relive for the first time a lot of, like just like ones that like stood out of my mind, like I think like the last like hour of Avengers Endgame was a fun one. That was like, when I think back to the first time I saw that movie, I was just like me just like peeing my pants all over the movie theater. That was a fun one. The ending of Toy Story 3, great.
That's a big one.
Yeah, we might be talking about that a bit later. And also that time you saw Wreck-It Ralph 2 and we watched Sonic the Hedgehog explain how the internet works.
That's iconic, yeah.
And I'd say that's a great transition into what's going to be our main topic for today. As our favorite blue hedgehog turned 30. He's into the dirty 30s, even though the 20s were also pretty dirty. So we're not going to talk about
I'm getting old, man.
Yeah, honestly, same. My back hurts. It sucks. But yeah, so we talked a bit about Sonic the first time you were on the show. We talked about how a hobby you picked back up again was Sonic Unleashed, speed running. But in case anybody needs to knock on your Sonic credentials, and if they dare question that, there is a podcast I know that you did with the Sonic Adventure Pod.
Yeah.
Which was a great listen. I'll make sure to link that in the description of this episode, because it was a great listen. Because I love listening to like people that passionately love Sonic talk about Sonic. So do you remember what your early, because it's going to be a big old retrospective of us kind of like talking about our history with Sonic, but do you remember your earliest memory with Sonic the Hedgehog, Cam?
Oh man, that's like one of the things I was talking about on that podcast, Sonic Adventure podcast. Thank you for mentioning it, and I appreciate that you gave it a listen. Sonic is so ingrained into my life that I actually like can't remember specifically what my first Sonic memory is. I'll recycle this joke because it's a real story. But you know how they tell parents to like listen to Beethoven to make their child smart when they're like when they're pregnant. My mom just played Sonic all the time. Like she had a Genesis, she was playing Sonic 1, and I think that just completely explains why I'm the person that I am. So Sonic has just been a part of my family since I was really young. Like both my dad and my mom liked Sonic. Like I said, my mom played it like religiously when she was pregnant with me, and then just since I was a kid, I just grew up with video games. And I think it's one of those things too where I think for some people it was like you were either like a Mario kid or a Sonic kid, like you kind of preferred the one that you grew up with. Mm-hmm. But in some ways I was fortunate because I had exposure to a lot of games. Like I played Nintendo, I played Sega. So I played the Marios, I played the Zeldas. Pokemon was another huge one for me. Probably another, like, besides Sonic, Pokemon is probably the next most influential video game franchise in my life. But something about Sonic specifically always stood out to me, and I think like, whenever you talk about the history of Sonic, the thing that's always pointed to is that Sonic as a character was just so different from anything else that existed at the time. Mm-hmm. You had like, you had video game mascots like Pac-Man and Mario and things like that, but Sonic has such a defined personality, and he existed in so many forms. Like, even if you didn't play the games, like Sean, who is one of the guys who hosts the Sonic Podcast Adventure, his first experience with Sonic wasn't even the video games. Like, he loved Sonic before he ever even played a Sonic game. And that kind of like blew my mind, because that just shows like the reach that this character has. Like, I grew up with the games, the comic books, the cartoon shows. Like, no matter what it was you were watching or playing or seeing that was Sonic, you got a sense of who he was, and you knew that he was the coolest dude alive. Like, yeah. So I feel like just for me, growing up with that character, just left such a huge impact on me. And he's such like he's very a character that I think is very similar to Sonic is Spider-Man. And I think a lot of people that love Spider-Man for similar reasons for like why Sonic fans like Sonic, is that he's like, the same way that Spider-Man's your friendly neighborhood spider. Like they're both like outgoing and or at least Spider-Man more so than Peter Parker, but like that kind of persona of friendly, outgoing, kind of snarky, but always looking out for everyone else. Like there's just something really admirable about that. And I think like a lot, like especially as a kid, you just aspire like I want to be like that. Like that's like what cool is to me is caring about other people, but doing it in kind of like a carefree way. That's what Sonic has always kind of been to me. But yeah, I don't know. The comics were awesome. The cartoons were just like there's just so much to have and so much to enjoy about Sonic. And then for me, like as I talked about in that episode, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the game that really cemented my love for Sonic for years to come.
No, I love all of that stuff. I've also never heard someone make the comparison to Spider-Man before, like out loud. But like now that you've said it, I totally get it because Spider-Man is like my favorite like Marvel superhero. And I love Spider-Man for all this, for all those same reasons. He's snarky, he's funny. I also, I guess maybe less so as a comparison with Sonic. He's very down to earth. Like it's a very like, reserved superhero. Like they even make this joke, I think in Spider-Man Homecoming, where, Tom Holland says, yeah, like, I want to be you can't have a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there isn't a neighborhood to protect. Which I thought was like, which I thought was like very like, cool. And they've
very
also,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, and they've also done the multiverse thing, which is fun, technically, which is interesting. But yeah, I echo a lot of those same sentiments that you have. I think Sonic is just like when you think of like those other like iconic franchises, from that era. Like I also grew up a Sega kid. I've talked about this a lot on other episodes of the show. I didn't own a Nintendo system until I didn't own my own Nintendo system until the GameCube. I shared an N64 with my brother for like 5 years. But growing up, all we had was a Sega Genesis, and like outside of some like crappy licensed games, like I just have vivid memories of my brother playing Sonic 1 and like me watching and just like being enamored by how like colorful and like, expressive the backgrounds were and how cool the enemies looked. And I was mesmerized since day one. And like a fun Sonic story that I've told like on multiple like platforms and other places is that I vividly remember, I think like the moment where I was associated with Sonic as like a personality thing is when I was in the hospital for a week in the 4th grade with pneumonia, and everybody in my class wrote me cards and they all drew me next to Sonic the Hedgehog, which I thought was really cute.
Aww.
Yeah. So like that's like a story that like I always hold like near and dear to my heart. So Sonic is like you mentioned, like just like the cartoons, the comics, like just as a media franchise, Sonic is I would argue like not many people really like fully understand like how big of like a media conglomerate like Sonic is. Like he's in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Like he's very much ingrained in like the zeitgeist as like a normal thing. Like my parents who are like in their like late 60s who know jack diddly doop about video games can recognize Pikachu, they can recognize Mario, and they recognize Sonic the Hedgehog because they're just like that. I mean, granted, I shoved it down their throats for the last 27 years because I'm a jerk. But it's also one of those things where it's like, they're so like well ingrained in the zeitgeist that it's impossible to like not know someone that has like some sort of story with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, no, and I love just hearing that experience of yours. Like that's just Sonic just brings people together, and that's part of what I love about it. And yeah, like I think one of the things that makes Sonic so distinctive, and kind of going back to what we were talking about, is that I really think Sonic is more than just a video game character. Like he obviously that's like kind of that's what brought him into the zeitgeist is the game, but they really turned him into just like a multimedia icon. Like, and especially now with him having a Hollywood movie, getting a Hollywood movie sequel. We have the new Netflix series coming up. Like, Sonic has always been more than just what you experience by playing the main games, and I think that's despite whatever ups and downs the franchise has had. I think that's like what has kept Sonic going. Is that kind of like one, obviously the initial success of Sonic, like that he changed the world. He really did. Like he when he first came out, like no one had seen anything like Sonic. Like they nailed it. Like the design is genius. The game was unique. The personality was just like omnipresent. So like that just had such a lasting impact, and I think their ability to, even if Sega fell off in terms of hardware, because like I am absolutely like I'm a Sonic fan, but I'm a Nintendo kid.
Yeah.
Like I think Nintendo just has that grip over me. But yeah, just yeah, Sonic is kind of he's just like he's an icon. It's what it comes down to. He's like, and I think what's so fun about him is that when you look at other characters like that kind of have similar presence to Sonic, like your Mario or Mickey Mouse, and like I don't get me wrong, I've said this so many times before. I love Mario games. I play like every Mario game that comes out. I think they're just excellent. Mario Odyssey was quite possibly one of the best Mario games, but Mario himself, I don't have the same attachment to him. I have an attachment to like the games, the experiences from playing Mario games, but Mario himself I'm not really invested in the same, and like Mickey Mouse is like the same thing, like
Right.
as a character, like what do we don't really know anything about Mickey Mouse. Like they sort of, you know, with the cartoon stuff, there's some stuff there, but he's very watered down to be like very family friendly, very brand safe, very like children focused. But Sonic's always been like just edgy enough to kind of cater to like people just a little like outside of that demographic. And that's what's so fun. Like even when they mess up with Sonic, they're not afraid to do weird ass shit with him. Like they take risks.
Yeah, no, I agree. And listen, if we know enough about Mickey Mouse, I know two things: he's a business owner, and he's a keyblade wielder. So I think that's all I really.
He's the king.
Yeah, he's the king. He's King Mickey. That's all I need to, all I need to understand about the mouse, and also that his streaming service is very good, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. But teaser, but yeah. So I guess we can kind of get into the meat of it, as you know. So fast, rewind a couple of weeks ago. Sonic had the Sonic Central, I guess what it was, the Sonic Direct, like for lack of a better term. It was the Sonic Nintendo Direct. And through that we got some interesting information that we're going to be going through a bit of today. And now I'll pin you this question, Cam. As compared to when everything first, the news of everything first dropped from the Sonic Direct, like, we know that they announced that the Sonic Symphony was going to be happening, that Sonic Prime was still coming. We got again, I said this a couple weeks ago, calling this the teaser trailer for Sonic 22 a teaser trailer, I feel like is offensive to teaser trailers. Because it was literally like 8 seconds of just Sonic running through the woods. And of course, things that things like Sonic Colors Ultimate and Roger Craig Smith returning as Sonic. Now that a couple of these things have come to fruition already, and we've gotten an announcement of some other things, Sonic as a Minecrafter, Sonic in Minecraft, Sonic as a VTuber, and a potential Sonic theme park. How are you feeling now, post that versus when all this stuff was initially first announced?
It's kind of insane, honestly, because I felt like so much of Sonic 30th was when they first announced the Sonic 30th kind of branding. People were expecting a lot of stuff, and I think it's been a really there was a lot of buildup because throughout most of the since the announcement of the 30th, everyone's like, when are they going to announce literally anything? There's so much okay, it's his 30th anniversary. What do you got planned? And I feel like it has completely paid off, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. That wait has just they followed through. And I think especially if you look at even Nintendo, what they've been doing for some of their major franchise anniversaries, it's not a lot. And I think I don't know. I'm kind of pumped. I feel like they really pulled out a lot of the stops for Sonic for the 30th. I don't even know where to start. It was a very weird omen at first, though, because we didn't get a whole lot of news. There wasn't a lot on the horizon. And then we found out that Roger Craig Smith was no longer going to voice Sonic. And it was just what's going on over there? What's happening? Like, I'm nervous. We did get like the leak of Sonic Prime a while back, and we were like, okay, like that's kind of cool, but I'm nervous about it because Roger's leaving, so who's gonna voice Sonic? And we still don't really know for sure who's gonna voice Sonic and Sonic Prime, since Roger, I think, technically said that he'll be back for the games. So we
Right.
don't really know what Sonic Prime's cast is gonna look like, but there was a lot of weird stuff that was kind of bumpy at the start, and I was like, oh man, I don't really know. I'm kind of nervous what the next wave of Sonic is going to be. But I think between Sonic Central and some of the news that came out just within the last week after Sonic Central, which kind of surprises me that they didn't maybe include all of that stuff in Sonic Central, but I'm sure there's a lot of business reasons why. Um,
Sure.
I'm excited. I'm legitimately excited. I think there's a lot to look forward to, and I think the Sonic Symphony really was just such a beautiful celebration of the franchise that it kind of helped alleviate some of the tension maybe around what is in the future for Sonic, because it just kind of gave us a moment to like remember those experiences that we had over the years that made us love Sonic to begin with. And I think it was just like such a perfect tribute.
Yeah, no, I feel a lot of that. And in regards to like who is going to be voicing Sonic, like a lot of the rumble has been that, you know, when Roger originally stepped down, that they were probably going to clear the path for Ben Schwartz to voice Sonic. And I know a lot of people definitely felt the way about that, but Ben Schwartz, like, not only is he an accomplished actor, he's a very good voice actor. Like he was in DuckTales. He was under the reboot of DuckTales for the last 4 years. And like, you know, once and that show was fantastic. I watched that early in the beginning of quarantine last year, and that show was great. Yeah, so like we were mentioning, you know, I agree with a lot of how you feel about the Sonic Anniversary stuff. As for what's going to happen with the TV shows, if it ends up being Ben Schwartz, I'll be okay with that, because like he's a very accomplished voice actor outside of being like a, you know, a TV and film actor. I don't know how you feel about that. If you've seen like any of the DuckTales stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ben Schwartz is famous for voicing blue cartoon characters, so um, I think if he's the voice in like Sonic Prime, I don't think I'll be upset about it. Um, I was nervous when they got rid of Roger because I felt like Roger has really come into his own with Sonic over the years, and as much as I think Ben Schwartz is a fun choice for the movie. I think he could be fun in the cartoons, but for the games, Ben Schwartz isn't Sonic to me, so I was like really nervous they were gonna maybe try to like to align with the movie franchise. They're gonna move like everything to Ben, and I was not really looking forward to that. So I think if stays in that like the space of like the movie universe and maybe even some of the shows, I think I'd be okay with that. I don't think I mind him in the cartoons, but I don't know. I think like part of me also gets slightly bitter because I look at like Japan and they've had the same voice actor for Sonic since forever.
Right.
And Japan is very like when it comes to voice actors, they are very faithful in that way. Where like if someone voices a character, they voice them like pretty much until they die.
Right.
It's very rare that there's ever a recast unless there's like dire circumstances. So the fact that we've gone through so many Sonics over the years, it's like it's kind of hard to like really sink your teeth into like that role because like they're constantly having to pick up the pieces or like change direction. So Roger, I think, is the longest standing Sonic voice, and I think he's really like if you look at the breadth of work that he's done for the Sonic franchise since he started, he's been in a lot of stuff, and I've grown to really appreciate the range that he has with the character. I think he's the best voice actor that Sonic has had. As much as I love some of the other roles of like older Sonic stuff, I think Roger is overall like the most like natural fit, if that makes sense. So I kind of when there's all these talks about like who's gonna voice Sonic and like all these other branches, I it's kind of like difficult because I wish that there was a more concentrated direction on maybe just like one person. From the movie standpoint, I get it because they're trying to appeal to a general audience. So attaching like Ben Schwartz to it, you know, it makes sense. So I don't blame them. But for most other Sonic outings. I feel like I'd rather have it contained to like a central voice, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel that. It'll be interesting to see which direction they go. Like you mentioned, I don't want Ben Schwartz to take over in the games also because, like I said, I feel like he's like he does so well at the TV stuff. I feel like I'd rather just kind of keep that like I don't know in its own lane. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they go about that. You know, for whatever Sonic 2022 turns out to be. We'll talk about a bit about that in a bit because obviously the biggest piece of information of stuff that happened this past week was the Sonic Symphony, which was again exactly what it sounds like. It was a symphony played some of Sonic's greatest hits from the classic era up until modern times. So Cam, let me ask you, and I already know the answer to this because we've been talking about this all week. But what was your thoughts on the Sonic Symphony?
I mean, it was amazing. I feel like when they announced the Sonic Symphony, everyone's like, "Oh, cool, that'll be neat." I think a lot of people imagine like, "Yeah, I'll have that on in the background while I work," and then it just became like this unforgettable experience where I think especially it's such a shame that you couldn't watch it as it was happening, but like just seeing my Twitter timeline for 2 hours just unite in their love for Sonic, like just not seeing a single negative comment
Yep.
on Twitter for 2 hours was just like an amazing thing, and people just like they really just went above and beyond with it, having it go from this orchestral concert to this basically just this rock concert.
Yeah.
It was such like a cool transition, and the combination of orchestra with rock it's for certain songs, and all the new remixes we got for iconic songs, like it and the amount of games that they covered as well. It was truly insane, and I forget her last name right now, but the social media manager for Sonic, her name's Katie. I was reading about how this was like a brainchild of hers, and that it was really her who like got it off the ground. And I just have so much respect for her and the entire team at like Sonic Team and Sega who came together to make this happen. That was apparently 2 years in the making. And as someone who was in a similar industry, I think the longest I've worked on a project from concept to it releasing is maybe like 6 or 7 months. So I like that I thought is like pretty crazy, but like 2 years to be developing something is just like what a commitment. And it came through in the performances and the attention to detail and the way it was edited together, and just I don't know, man. I've watched the thing in full twice already, and I've gone back and just watched select songs over and over again, but I think it's truly something that's going to go down as like just a piece of Sonic history that we'll always have. Yeah. And as much as I wish that I could have gone to a concert like this in person and to like freak out with all of my friends and fellow fans, it is cool to just have this video forever.
Yep. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And like I'm so upset that I couldn't watch this in the real time, man. You have no idea. I wanted to take like a 2-hour long bathroom break at my job, like so bad because I just wanted to be able to watch this. Like you mentioned, like I was scrolling through my Twitter feed and seeing everybody like, kind of joining hands in like solidarity, like with how great Sonic the Hedgehog music is, was kind of awesome. And then, you were telling me after the fact, you're like, listen, man, you got to watch it. It's going to like change your life. And I was like, okay, I don't know. We'll see we'll see about that. Cause like, that's just me. And within seconds of the symphony starting, like I legitimately started to cry. I was like, oh my God, like this is like
no one believed me. I was like, because Andy, a friend of ours, also hadn't watched it. He couldn't watch it live. I was kind of lucky because it started during my lunch break, so I watched like the first hour of it during that, and then I was just a bad little boy and I watched the rest of the hour just uninterrupted. I was like, sorry, work. I can't focus on you right now. But I was telling Andy, I'm like, dude, you have to watch the full thing, like from start to finish. It's better. It only gets better. And as he was watching it, he was like live reacting, texting me. He was like, oh, like, I don't think either of you believed me when I said, no, really, it gets better. And then like you just have to watch it to like understand. But just I was right. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Congratulations. I've given you a platform to dunk on me once again.
The honor's mine.
I'm sure it is, but yeah, no, like you were right. It was every second of that symphony got better and better. And like as someone who is openly said that I am sick and tired of hearing Green Hill Zone shoved down my throat, like hearing just like the softness of like the string instruments like playing like Green Hill, like it got to me. Like I was like the powerful part about music is that music has such a way of transporting you back to like the exact moment when you experienced that for the first time. And like I'm hearing Green Hill Zone played with a full symphony, and I was immediately transported back to when I was 4 and I was watching my brother play Sonic, and I thought it was so cool. And then hearing things like, you know, City Escape and Live and Learn, like you know, backed by a full orchestra with a full band. Like, it brought me back to when I played those games for the first time because, you know, like most people in our age group, Cam, and I'm sure you feel the same way, those games really shaped a lot of, like, you know, my personality and, like, you know, jokes I have with my friends. And, like, those two songs by themselves have, like, survived the zeitgeist. Like, even if you talk to, like, people that, like, casually know, like, Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff, like, my parents know that, like, are familiar with what City Escape sounds like because I played Sonic Adventure 2 ad nauseum, you know, growing up in middle school. So, like, I think just seeing those, like, you know, in like peak form, and like you said, there's so many other songs, like, you know, Endless Possibilities, Night of the Wind, which is one of my personal favorite Sonic songs. Like, seeing those songs, like, you know, be able to you know, turn into these beautiful, like, you know, symphony pieces, like, it absolutely, like, ruined me. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it's just incredible what they were able to do, and hearing songs that we already love and then somehow making them better. Like,
yeah,
I was just like, how are they doing this? Like that new remix of Reach for the Stars absolutely slaps. I already really like that song, but like I think the new one that they did is like even better. I'm just like, this is the new version of Reach for the Stars for me.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool how they brought in, if you're not familiar with who Nathan Sharp is, he's a YouTuber that does cover videos of, like, you know, popular songs and video games, and to see them bring him out for, like, you know, City Escape and Endless Possibilities was really, really cool, because I already like those versions of the song that he did. And like you mentioned, like, Reach for the Stars, great song, and everything Crush 40 just was beautiful. I've had the pleasure of seeing Johnny Gioeli, like, play in real life, like, as half of Crush 40 at a convention, and it's an experience I will never forget for the rest of my life. And, like, seeing, like, all these, like, you know, great songs, like we mentioned before, and even, like, again, some of the ones that are, like, a little bit more lesser known, like, that the biggest takeaway I have from this is that even when a Sonic game sucks, if a game's dead on arrival, Sonic, and I'll die on this hill, Sonic has pound for pound, I think, the best video game, does music in video games. Like, in my opinion, there's nothing that compares to, like, what these songs are able to do, even in a dog shit game like Sonic 06. Like,
soundtrack slaps.
Yeah, like, Crisis City it's a great song. The soundtrack for that game is dope. Like, Sonic and the Black Knight, I bought that game for $10 in a Hess gas station in North Carolina. I will never stop talking about that. Yeah, and that game, like, Night of the Wind, is legitimately one of my favorite Sonic songs of all time. Like, that song,
I didn't buy that game out of principle because I hated Secret Rings so much that I refused to give money to this, like, storybook series. I'm like, screw you.
I agree. I hate Sonic and the Secret Rings, but at least Black Knight gives you a sword to play with. Like, I await Sonic and the Crypt of the Necromancer, or whatever the next storybook game is going to be.
Anyway, Yeah, I agreed with you up to that point. But yeah, no, okay. I think the question has to be asked though, which is, out of all those songs, like, you know, even with Sonic 06 being the game that it is, like his world is just such a banger. Like, and I was a fan of Zebrahead before that game, so
Yeah.
like when I found out Zebrahead was doing a Sonic song, my mind was absolutely blown. Like teenage me was just losing his absolute mind. But out of all of those like theme songs for each game, what's your number one?
It has to be Endless Possibilities. Like, as much as I loved, as much as I like unironically like Fist Bump, like I think that song is like kind of a banger. And again, I love Zebrahead, and his world is such a great song. Bowling for Soup hit me in like just like the right place. I think because they're the ones that did the Endless Possibilities for Unleashed, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, well, it's not Bowling for Soup. It's Jarrett Reddick. Like he does the vocals, but he I don't think Bowling for Soup did the song. Like
Right.
the lead singer is on the track, but
Right.
it's not like someone else wrote the song, I think.
Yeah, it's just like something about like Endless Possibilities. It just like hit me at such like a great time in my life. Like that was like, you know, peak me in like my pop punk phase, and like Sonic Unleashed was still pretty new around like 2000, you know, around that time, you know, 2010 when I first played it, or like 2011, whatever it came out. Like I played it like a few years after it came out. But like something about that song is just like it gets me. It's so good. Like, and hearing it like backed by a full orchestra was like, and
Really
then
listen to Bowling for Soup ever, if I'm being honest. Like I'll listen to the one or two songs that I really like, and then that's kind of it. But I think they're fun, and Phineas and Ferb, that opening song slaps.
Yeah.
So like I like Jared Reddick. Like I think I like his singing, and I think Bowling for Soup does some good stuff. But I'm not like mega fans of them. But they're definitely kind of like you said, their music is definitely tied to like that era of pop punk that I'm obsessed with, and I still listen to way too much pop punk. But Zebrahead really is like, maybe I think they've fallen off a little bit probably on my list, but there was a time where Zebrahead was probably like one of my top 5 bands. So his world was just like, that was my favorite song for a long time for Sonic. But I don't know, man. Like, despite me liking Zebrahead more than Bowling for Soup, Endless Possibility, I think like it's gotta be my favorite. It just hits so hard. I don't know. I love that song.
Dude.
And I think it just like embodies like that Sonic feeling really well. That sounds like silly. I don't know how to describe it, but I just think of Sonic when I hear that song.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. Like the possibilities are never ending, and like it's just like something about it just like hits a little bit different.
Never ending.
Yeah, it's so good, and like I think back and like, again, like I think of like those iconic tracks, like when I heard City Escape, like, you know, I hear the strings come in, and I hear like the rock guitar in the background also.
So sick,
dude. Like it just brought me back. Like Sonic Adventure 2 was the first game I bought with it was one of the first games I bought with my own money. I had saved up like a weekly allowance for like months. Yeah, and like I remember it fondly. I remember I borrowed Sonic Adventure from my neighbor, and I beat it, and that game like really formed a lot of my personality. I think that is probably still my favorite Sonic soundtrack, like pound for pound. I love Adventure, but Sonic Adventure 2, like I remember coming home. It was a Friday after school, and that game, like I just went ham on it. I didn't move from my couch for I think a solid 10 hours. It changed my life, man. Like, and I feel like a lot of other people like feel the same way. Like that game is so iconic in like, you know, in like in meme lore, in like in music lore. You know, the game is those games definitely haven't aged well. Going back and playing them recently, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Really?
Nope,
really?
I disagree. I completely disagree. I'm one of those people where I hate YouTubers that are like retroactively like Sonic Adventure 2 is actually a bad game. I think everyone can fuck off.
Wow. Okay, get on your okay, go into soapbox. I'll allow you to get on this because
This is my soapbox. Here's what it comes down to. Because everything you were saying I agree with. Like I think Sonic Adventure 2 is a defining game. I think like the amount of people that you can talk to who aren't even like the biggest Sonic fans, they all played Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on their GameCube.
Yep.
Like there's just like I've always said that Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my favorite game of all time, but Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is a close second. I think, especially for 3D era Sonic, like it is just such a milestone of an achievement. And look, I'm not going to say it's a perfect game. Like there are aspects of the game where you can make the argument of like, yeah, like maybe these certain aspects didn't age well, or like these things could have been better polished or whatever. But I think like as for what the game did for the era that it came out, I just think you can't deny the impact that it had on video games and like on the franchise as a whole, and the memories like that are associated with it. People, as I mentioned, people who maybe didn't play a ton of Sonic or they like Sonic casually, I guarantee you, if you polled like a group of like 10 people, most of those people are going to say their favorite Sonic game is Sonic Adventure 2. And I think there's a reason for that. I think the story of Sonic Adventure 2 is something that most Sonic games haven't like really reached the level of ever since. Like just even if it's cheesy and kind of corny, like the scale of the game is really fun and exciting. And I think the idea of being able to experience the game from the hero side and the dark side are like, what game really, like, especially the platforming genre, how many games at a time could you experience the story from both the bad, like, how many games let you play as the bad guys? Like,
yeah, no, this is true.
There's a reason that they ended the symphony on Live and Learn.
Yeah.
It is like an anthem song. Like, no matter who you are, if you're a Sonic fan around the world, you know Live and Learn. And I just think that is like, it's iconic. And the Chow Garden is something that people really latch onto, and that brought tons of replayability, and it brought like, it's like a game within a game. Like,
yeah.
and replaying it now, because I'm actually like, I'm playing through all of Sonic Adventure 2. Even when I'm playing it, I'm just like, I think the amount of content they fit into the game, the level of ambition that they had, and the overall execution, I think, is solid enough that like, even if it's not like, even if you can be critical about it, I think you can't strip it away from what it achieved, which is, I think, still at the end of the day, a great game that I'll always enjoy replaying. And I think the adventure formula, like, I know people who will go back and say that like Sonic and Shadow are like, they're too slippery or like they're hard to control. I don't know if I'm just maybe the odd one out here, but I disagree. Maybe it's because I played it so much, but I really like the freedom of motion that they have that you don't get in modern Sonic games. As much as I like some of the Boost Formula games, you don't really get that like same freedom that the adventure games give you. And I think the level designs are really, really good. And Cityscape is like the Green Hill Zone of 3D Sonic, and it's just like a perfect level. I think Cityscape is just amazing, and there's a lot to love about Sonic Adventure 2. And I was replaying it with my roommate Connor, watching it, and I think at first he was like, "This is kind of silly," but by the time we got to the final boss and Live and Learn's playing, and I completed it, he was like, "That was pretty sick." And I'm like, "Yeah, right, it's cool." And then the next day, he's like, "I've been thinking about it, and Sonic Adventure 2, pretty cool game." And I'm like, "Right?" Like, he didn't even play it, but just by watching me play it, he was still thinking about it. And I just think that, like, and he's someone that didn't really grow up with the franchise or, like, play those games growing up. So, like, I just think it has an impact that you can't deny it. And anyone that tries to say that it's, like, a bad game or that it, like, you know, it's like, adventure games don't age well. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm being a little soapboxy Sonic fan right now, but I don't know, man. I think people just find reasons to dog on Sonic. People that don't like Sonic, or the people that are like, Sonic's never been good, 3D Sonic's never been good, they're just trying to find reasons to say Sonic Adventure 2 is bad because they want to take away any joy that we have.
Sure, yeah, of course. Yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of that, and maybe it's I haven't gone back and like played, like, given those games a fair shake, I'll admit, like in a minute. I think I tried playing a bit of the PC version of SA2, and like it was moving like way too fast for me, and I got like a little motion sick. It's just like, ooh, that was fun, but I don't know. I'll have to go back and maybe give it its fair revisit, because hearing those songs, like you said, like Live and Learn is an anthem, like a rock anthem, and I gotta admit, when they like pop back onto the screen and like they had like the team Hero and like the team Dark like divider on the live stream, like I absolutely lost my mind. It was so cool.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had any closing thoughts on Sonic Adventure 2 because I couldn't hear any of it other than that was
No.
fun.
So so my I haven't given like those games it's fair like replay shake in a while. Like I haven't like played the PC version yet because like I'm like it's been like rotting.
It's not great. I think if you were to replay it, you should replay it on GameCube before you play it on Steam. The port's not bad; it's serviceable, but definitely like Dreamcast is obviously the best way to play it. But Battle is also great on GameCube. So if you were to replay it, I would say replay it on GameCube before playing it on Steam.
That might be a good idea. I gotta find I might have to find a GameCube version of it floating around somewhere in my house. Hopefully I didn't like sell it in a yard sale like 10 years ago. I'll be really upset if I did.
I know, tragic.
But yeah, I love Sonic Adventure 2. Like all in all, like I mentioned, like something about the power of music was just like it was so great to just hear all these songs remixed. I'll pen this question to you though. Are you surprised of any omissions from the Sonic Symphony? Like is there a game that you were surprised you didn't see like get any like acknowledgement whatsoever?
I feel like they probably made the wisest choices. Like I think the set list is like near perfect. So any critiques that I would have are like extremely minor, and it's just like everyone's gonna have their personal preferences. You're not gonna be able to like. I think they appealed to the most amount of people as well as possible. So like anything I say right now, just know is me being very granular and just specific to my interests. Because I think really the symphony is like a work of art and it's like perfect. But
Yep.
if I were to change anything, like I wish there was more Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but I think the music rights for that game are a disaster. So the fact that we got anything is like a miracle. So and choosing Sky Sanctuary, I mean, great choice. So that was like my one thought, and then a game that is near and dear to my heart that I would have loved to have represented, but it definitely has like one of the most unique soundtracks in Sonic, which is probably why it was harder to adapt, and maybe there's some weird rights issues there too. But Sonic Rush, I think, is one of the best Sonic games. And the soundtrack for it is super cool. It's done by the artist that did the Jet Set Radio soundtrack, and it just slaps. It is such a cool OST. So I would have loved to have at least like one Sonic Rush song in there, but I think in terms of like Sonic history, the handheld games always kind of get snubbed. So I wasn't surprised to not have Rush included. But if I were to change anything, that would have been my selfish choice. Would be to include Sonic Rush.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the only like nitpick I have, and like I agree with you, like any sort of like criticisms are like very granular, and it's just me being selfish because I just wanted more. I would have loved.
I could have watched this for like 24 hours.
Yeah. Like I think the only thing I would have loved represented a little bit more is I have a very weird soft spot in my heart for Sonic Heroes. Like obviously like the main track for that song is like iconic. Again, another one of those songs like gets people singing and dancing like fools in the streets. Like that song is iconic, and I played that game a lot growing up, and like I think I would have maybe liked a couple more like orchestral pieces from that, because like it's like Seaside Hills is like a beautiful level, and like Bingo Highway I think would have been fun, but I feel like that game is a little too like synth poppy, where like it's really hard to like remix some of those songs. But either way, I was very happy with the spread of music that we got from the symphony.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I can't wait for Sonic's 40th anniversary, where we're going to get to hear these songs again and then cry again. And I do hope that maybe they'll do this again, because like
I hope they do a live version at some point. I would throw all my money at that.
Yeah, like I would also just like love to see Crush 40 live again. Like that was such a fun experience.
I've never seen them, and I would love to see Crush 40.
Like when I saw them, it was like kind of Crush 40 live. Like it was just Johnny Gioeli like by himself, like backed by. It was really cool because he brought like people in from people like from the crowd like on the stage to play like air guitar instruments and stuff. So like for those kids, I'm sure it was like really cool to like do that. And he played like all like the iconic beats of Sonic music. So that was fun. I would love to see that again. Music is great, man. I love live music. So yeah, I guess we can kind of like go through like the other like stuff that happened that got announced throughout the week. Which of these announcements was like the one that like made the most impact for you, and why is it Minecraft?
Oh man, I've never played Minecraft. So this was the closest I've ever gotten to thinking about playing Minecraft.
I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah, I'm like super tempted. I don't know if I'll actually do it, but that was a very fun reveal. Even as someone that doesn't play Minecraft, like you can tell they put a lot of love and effort into it. Like, and the amount of characters that they included is like crazy. You can play as like Metal Knuckles or the Werehog, and like there's just a ton of Minecraftified characters, which I think is really cool. And the levels actually look fun. So I'm just like, damn, like they basically made a whole ass Sonic game and put in Minecraft, and that makes me really want to play it.
Honestly, like I feel exactly the same way, and I think we talked about this a bit when Minecraft Steve was at the Super Smash Brothers, where we both felt like like we're way too old for this game now because
Yeah,
like they're adding like characters like Minecraft and stuff in the Smash, and I'm just like ugh, I don't get it. But this honestly, it looks so cool, like you said, like the amount of character variety you can play as in Minecraft, like Sonic Minecraft was like super cool, and like if I'm ever been tempted to buy Minecraft, it's now, but I'm still not sure if I'm gonna do it yet because I'm 27.
yeah. No, I feel. I mean, I know a lot of people in our age group that love Minecraft and they play it. So like, I'm sure it's a good game, but like, I feel like whenever I see gameplay of that game, like this is a game I will play for like 30 minutes and I will never play it again. Like I just know myself and I know that like looking at the type of game it is, like I just don't have time for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And I just can't see myself actively playing it.
yeah, I'm curious because I don't know if you feel the same way as I do on this. Like, I have a hard time getting into games where like half of the game is like you creating your own adventure. Like, it's the exact reason why I don't play games like Mario Maker or like Game Builder Garage is like a new one that just came out. Like, any sort of game that's like reliant on me to like make shit in it. Like, it's just not a type of game that I steer clear of because like that's a part of my brain I have a lot of like hard time accessing because I'm just it's super like weird for me, and like I get like super overwhelmed really quickly.
Yeah, the time of my life there's certain types of games that I used to love or like would play a lot more of growing up that I've accepted as an adult. I just will never be able to fully enjoy ever again. And that is like open world games and like build your own games. Like
Yep, yeah.
like when I was a kid, I probably would have been like really into Mario Maker or something, but like any game where I have to like play it for 100 hours just to like build it or to like do all the missions, like or just to find things, like I just don't have the time anymore, and it makes me sad because like I'm sure they're great games, and if I was 12, I would have been obsessed with them, but I just don't like. I need a game that I can, if I buy it, I know I'll be able to play it and beat it in like, I don't know, like 20 hours tops. Like
Yeah.
It's so hard for me anymore to really finish a game. And I still love games, but there's like a transition period where like I would buy games and then I would never play or beat them. And I've only recently accepted like maybe I just won't buy those games anymore because it's become a cycle of playing games that I think look interesting and then realizing that I will never make the time to dive into them, or I will play them for 3 hours and stop. So I've just accepted the reality, and it's kind of sad, but maybe that will change for me in the future. But for now, I just accept that I'm going to miss out on those games.
Yeah, I'm glad you feel the same way I do. And hey, maybe Sonic Minecraft will be fun. So I definitely plan on checking that out.
Maybe I'll just watch some Let's Plays of it or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
someone will stream it.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can have like Minecraft YouTube in my YouTube algorithm. Like that's not something, that's not an evil I like want brought into my life right now.
Sonic 3D Blast.
Dude, oh boy, yeah, that was a weird one they pulled, right?
Yeah, I have a soft spot for that game, but anyway,
it was fun. Yeah. So, is there anything else from of the Sonic 30 stuff that you want to touch on? Because I feel like with these technical difficulties, we might be playing on borrowed time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all I really had to say about Minecraft. They released a Sonic VTuber, which is just like freaking me out.
Weird. It's so weird. I don't really get the VTuber craze like just yet. Maybe in due time I will. I don't know how you feel about it, but
it's kind of my job.
This is true.
So I can't talk about too many things. So, but I've been keeping a very close eye on VTuber stuff for like just being in the anime industry. So, But there are some that I like. I like Corone a lot. I watch her streams from time to time. Her English only ones are also extremely funny. So I like her. I watch some of the Hololive VN every now and then. Like I watch Amelia every now and then. I think she's great. I think she's funny. So I watch some VTubers, but I keep a close eye on like happenings in that space just so I can kind of like monitor it. But I think Sonic VTuber entering the game is very funny, and I hope one day that I can meet VTuber Sonic. That's my dream.
I can't wait for both Corone and Sonic to play Sonic 2 together, and then
I think it's inevitable. They gotta cross over. I gotta see them cross over.
Is she still suck playing Sonic, or like what's the deal with her?
Does she suck playing Sonic?
She's
stuck.
She's still stuck playing
stuck.
Sonic.
I was about to say like, damn, Koopa, harsh. Well, she doesn't like. She's played Sonic 1, she's played Sonic 2, and I think she played Sonic Adventure. I think those are the games that she's played. I don't know if I'm missing one, but she just kind of plays them. She beat 1 and 2, I think. But no, she also played 3 Knuckles. She did play 3 Knuckles, and that was amazing. But yeah, she played Adventure for like she'll do these like long ass streams where she'll play for like 11 hours or something. So I don't know if she's gone back to it, but she got pretty far.
Wild stuff.
Yeah,
it's amazing the era of the world we live in now. Sonic theme park, that sounds cool. Yeah,
they teased that they're interested in doing that.
I think that would be cool. I just want a theme park where I can only eat chili dogs as like my.
I could definitely see like the same way that like the Nintendo World Park is like part of Universal. I could see like Sonic Team like striking a deal with another park, you know, and having it be like a subsection of another park. I feel like that's probably more realistic than having like an entire Sonic theme park. But I would absolutely go. Chili dogs have to be on the menu. And if you think like, I can already imagine like a Green Hill roller coaster where the loop-de-loop, like it's so obvious. Like there's loop-de-loops throughout every Sonic level, so like that's just gonna be a thing with the roller coasters. It's like it's very well suited for it. But I don't know. Do you have like a dream like roller coaster or Sonic attraction that you would want at the theme park?
Ooh man, I think like a fun one. Like I can think of a kiddie ride where it's just like Dr. Robotnik's like wrecking ball swinging back and forth, like one of those like
nice
one of those like Swing City rides. I would love like again, this is another level that's like been like beaten to death into my brain, and it's by no fault of like them. It's just for some reason like Chemical Plant Zone has also been like very nostalgic as of late. I feel like a Chemical Plant Zone level would be kind of cool. Like
a water ride.
Yeah, like that would be fun.
That would be funny.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. As for, I don't know, I think like you mentioned, like Green Hill's like probably the most like iconic of those. Like any sort of like Sonic level with a loop-de-loop, like I think that would be fun. I hope if they do like a roller coaster like that, they have like, they'll be like an effect where you have to like come to a sudden stop and makes like the screeching noise, where like Sonic like stops on a dime. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a good time. I'm trying to think if there's like any other things that would lend itself well to like a Sonic ride or attraction, but I think we definitely covered the big ones. Like there's got to be a Green Hill roller coaster with the loop-de-loop. You got to have chili dogs.
I don't know. It's hard to think of. Like there's maybe like I don't know, like a Big the Cat like fishing game or something. Like would that? Oh
my god, that would be hilarious. That would be so good. Yeah, there's gonna be like weird little games like that.
I would be down for that.
They got like when you take the hammer and you hit the thing and you see like how strong you are. Yeah, there's got to be like an Amy Rose Pico Pico hammer game.
I would play.
Or maybe it's like a whack-a-mole with the Pico hammer and you're just hitting down like Eggman or something. I don't know.
I would love that so much. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like dream theme parks where like I think they can like cross over, because I feel like a lot of like the major parks have already like struck their deals. Maybe like a Sonic across Six Flags crossover would be fun, or like that would be interesting, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be cool.
That would be fun. Move over DC and other weird like products that are like in cahoots with What was it? I think it's Warner Media in general. So like that might be weird. Is there a Paramount
Who
theme?
we love.
Yes,
We
yes,
love Warner
we
Media.
love Warner Media. Big fan, actually.
Um,
Gotta.
but yeah, I could see that happening because like obviously Universal would have conflict of interest, so it's not going to be them. It's not going to happen at Disney. So I think Six Flags is probably like the next like logical choice.
I got one. I got a weird one for you. Are you ready?
Okay.
What if they reopen Nickelodeon Studios?
Jesus Christ.
And they put Sonic there because they're both under Viacom. They're both Viacom products technically. So
are they?
Yeah. Well, Viacom is under. I'm just going by what I learned from the streaming platforms because Nickelodeon, the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons and like and Nickelodeon products are all on Paramount Plus, which are under like the Paramount umbrella.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, so I think that would be like you could totally get away with it there, like from a licensing point. I think that would be fun.
You know, why not? I guess I didn't even think of that because like Sonic Boom was on Cartoon Network,
right?
And I have no idea who owns the rights to the old cartoons anymore.
I'm pretty sure it's Viacom, because they're still on the platform to some like degree. So
interesting.
It's kind of the streaming wars have definitely opened up my eyes to like who owns what. But
we love corporations.
Yes, absolutely, 1000%. Anything else you want to touch on from Sonic's 30th? I feel like we've kind of hit all the things that we know about for the most part.
I think, I guess we could talk about Sonic Colors Ultimate if we want to, but I think the last thing that I definitely want to talk about is like just what we want from Sonic 2022, like what we kind of like our hopes and dreams for that game.
Yeah, I think in regards to Sonic Colors Ultimate, like I'm excited to play that game on a next gen system. I think it was like that game is criminally underrated as like a late era Wii game. I'm a little worried I might get bored because like when I tried to go back and play Colors like semi recently to like refresh my memory, and like once I got past like that first like initial level, like everything felt like I forgot how like little you really are playing in 3D in that game. So like I'm worried how like stale like a lot of that platforming is gonna feel after a while, but I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think Sonic Colors, it's an interesting game in the sense that like it's funny that you say that you think it's like critically underrated because Sonic Colors was like the highest critically praised game in the 3D era in a long time. But I guess like maybe by general audience, not as many people had the chance to play it because it was only on the Wii. So maybe in terms of like the Sonic fandom, it's not like talked about a whole lot. But like from a critic standpoint, Sonic Colors is one of the most praised games. And I will say like there was a point where like we were getting like Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic and the Black Knight, and it was just brutal, man. Like Unleashed, I have a lot of mixed feelings about. Like I like that game, but it's definitely not like a gold standard by any means. But I do like it for like I think some of the parts of Unleashed are a triumph, and other parts are not. But it was not a good spread for our boy. So once I played Secret Rings, I remember being like, maybe I won't buy the next Sonic game. Like that was like kind of like when I started to like fall off because I just got burned too many times. Like maybe I just don't like Sonic games anymore. And so I didn't buy like Black Knight was the next game, and I was like, fuck that. So I didn't buy it because Secret Rings was garbage. And they're like, I'm like, wow, you're continuing this. You're doubling down on the story. So I was like, nope, not playing it, not buying it. So when Sonic Colors was announced, I was skeptical because I'm like, I'm not getting my hopes up again. The last time I got my hopes up this high was with Sonic Unleashed, and I don't want to do that again. So I didn't play it, I didn't buy it, and then it wasn't until like my birthday party where my friend Mitch was like, dude, did you play Sonic Colors? And I was like, no. And he's like, you got to play it. And he brought it over so that I could try it. So I played it with him, and I was like, damn it, I guess I got to get this game now because like they finally made a game that doesn't suck. So I bought Sonic Colors. I played it all. It's a short game. It's like I think you can beat it in like under 10 hours. But I had a good time, and I enjoyed it. It was a solid game. Like I don't think it's quite as memorable as like Sonic Unleashed when it's at its peak, but I think they really just needed to make a game that was good. Like,
Right.
they just need to make a solid game that wasn't like all over the place. So, and Sonic Colors delivers on that. Like, it's one of the more polished games. It's fun. The colors idea, like the wisps, like that, it works well. They didn't botch it up. So I think Colors is like, it's a solid, good game. I understand why they're remastering it. I'm looking forward to replaying it on, like you said, on a next gen console and it getting like the HD treatment that I think it deserves. But I do have a feeling, I have a similar feeling where like I think I will play it. I think I will have fun. But I don't know if Sonic Colors is gonna. We'll see how I feel once I replay because it's been a long time. But I don't know if Colors Ultimate will break its way into like my top Sonic games. You know, I'm really curious to see what I'm gonna feel after I play it.
Yeah, no, you echo a lot of the same feelings I do. I don't know. I enjoyed Colors when I played it. It's just that some of those later levels feel kind of like samey after a while. Like not all the Wisp powers are created equal, unfortunately.
Right.
It'll be fun to see how that shakes out. And like you mentioned, Sonic 2022, we know very little about it. I've heard some leak stuff, which like again, I'm not gonna like give much of the time of day because it's a leak.
Right.
But
I'll avoid talking about any like of the leaked Sonic news because I think that's like unsavory.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's take it away from me. But I think all I want is I want them to like continue to progress Sonic forward, but I also want like less of like a boost centric game, if that makes any sense. Like,
yeah,
I would love some sort of a return to like an adventure style formula where like, maybe there's instances where you can like slow things down a bit in a hub world, or like you don't have to like go blindingly fast in your platforming sections, because like my hot take is that like I've liked it when Sonic has done like some of like the different things. Like Sonic Lost World is a game that I feel like is underrated. Like I know that's a game that you've felt similarly about.
Agreed.
Yeah, like I like it when Sonic tries to do things like a little bit outside of the box and away from the like typical formula. Even a game that's like as like painfully mid as Sonic Forces, like was still I did like some of the ideas they had like for that game, like with the original the character and other stuff like that. So like I would like to maybe them like stray like away from like the goofy and like maybe give us more of like like it's like hub worlds, and like maybe like like I don't have to like continuously like hold the X button to go fast and stuff. I don't know how you feel about that, but
yeah, I definitely agree on those, some of those things. Like I like Lost World. That's like the hill that I die on, is that it's a good game and people are way too critical of it. Even like it's not perfect. Like it has like flaws, but I think it's like a solid 7 out of 10 game. I think it's really fun. I like it. Some of the levels are better than others, but I think like there's a lot of good ideas in that game, and I think the execution is like solid enough that like even if the parkour isn't like perfect, I still like a lot of what you can do with the parkour. And I think it makes the game a little more forgiving. Like if you miss a jump, you could still run up the wall and catch the ledge. I love that shit. I think that's such a cool idea, and it makes it so much more enjoyable to me just to like run through levels and know that like I can run up walls, and it like feels very Sonic still to run up walls. Like duh,
yeah,
it's Sonic. Of course you can run up walls. So I really like that mechanic, and I wish that maybe they could find a way to bring something like that back in some form. But yeah, I think the boost era, it had its run. I like a lot of what like Sonic Rush was like the first boost game, and it was amazing. Sonic Unleashed, when it's at its peak, like I absolutely love the level design of the daytime maps for Sonic Unleashed, and Sonic Generations was kind of like a watered down version of that, but like we've been doing boost for a while now. We've had some really good entries into the boost era, and I think that like it is kind of divisive amongst fans. Like there's like the adventure fan base and the boost fan base. So it'll be really interesting to see if they will move away from boost or if they'll like modify it or whatever. I will be very interested to see like what their next step is. I'm not necessarily like against the idea of keeping boost in some way. I know that the one of the things that was officially said was that the they are hoping that this new Sonic game can kind of define the future of Sonic games. So that makes me believe that they are going to depart from like what we've seen from Sonic before. Like I don't think it's just going to be another boost entry game. Um, so I'll be very curious to see like what they end up doing. I think it would be cool to kind of get a little bit of that adventure or Lost World vibe again, where you can actually control Sonic a little bit more in the 3D space, and maybe you just have certain segments that are a little more on rails for like that maximum speed. But yeah, I don't know. Hub Worlds is another one that I'm kind of on the fence about because like I like Sonic Adventure, and I think it was like really ambitious for the time, and I haven't played it in a long time, so I need to revisit it. But I think the Hub Worlds were charming. I think it's like kind of cool to be able to roam around and then like go to different levels. But like Sonic Adventure 2, we just talked about how good of a game that is.
Yeah.
And that was a lot more of a streamlined game. So I'm very interested to see what they're gonna do next. But I feel like with the success of games like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and a lot of those games, I think that Sonic is gonna maybe go into that more hub world, open world kind of genre. And I just hope that they don't mess it up.
Yeah, listen, I agree. And I think the real answer, we can sum it up in 2 words. Chow Garden. How about some of that?
Back the Chow Garden. Come on. Literally, okay, this is like the last thing that I'll say about Sonic, probably, hopefully, is that like I'm sure that people at Sega brought this up. I don't know why they're not doing it, but and I'm not the first person to say this. We're all thinking it. We've all said it. Just make a Chow Garden game, or like I don't know, like you could make a mobile app that's Chow Garden, and then it like syncs with like whatever Sonic title's out, the same way that you had Chow Garden on Adventure, and then you could connect it to your Game Boy, or you could connect it to like the memory card on Dreamcast. Like it's just there's so much opportunity for Chow Garden, and people love it. Just bring it back.
Yeah,
we want them.
In case of emergency, I just want Chow Karate. That's all I want. Just bring it back.
Also, think about like just from a business standpoint, if you made a Chow Garden mobile app, like with like in-app purchases and stuff, they could make so much money off of a good Chow Garden game.
Yeah, dude.
So like from like a cynical standpoint, they should do it, and then just from like a fan enjoyment standpoint, they should bring back Chow Garden. Like it's just a win-win.
I agree. That's think it happen. But yeah, that some of the pretty much of all the stuff from Sonic's 30th. I'm excited to see what we get in the coming months, and what else the Blue Blur has in store for us, because next year is the sequel movie year, so that'll be fun to see how that does in its second stint.
Another big moment for it's a big year for Sonic.
Yeah, I think that's also what I loved about the orchestra, is that it gave me what I wanted from the movies, which is like orchestral like Sonic pieces like in the movies. Like I would like
and they teased that with the Sonic 2 trailer with Emerald Hill. Ooh. And I'm like, if they can do more, like, and that sounded amazing from like just that short preview. If they can bring more of that into the movie, I'll be ecstatic.
And like Sonic 2, like hella overrated, but Emerald Hill is like a top 5 Sonic track for me. I love that song so much.
Yeah, Sonic 2 is obviously a triumph for what it did for the franchise. It's a great game, but like Sonic 3 Knuckles is better. It's just objectively better. Anyway.
He's spitting. Anyway, the last thing I guess we'll talk about today, we'll see how in depth we go into this, is we both also watched Luca, Pixar's latest soiree, and I gotta, so it's I'll give some initial thoughts on how I feel about this film. This is the third like original Pixar film we've gotten since Pixar announced after Toy Story 4 they aren't gonna like hammer us with sequels anymore. So this is the third of 3 originals, the other 2 being Onward and Soul. Soul, and all of which are available on Disney Plus, by the way, great streaming service. So yeah, Cam, you said that you liked
sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored yet. Please. But yeah, so Cam, you said you liked this movie more than you thought you were going to. So what were your thoughts going into watching Luca? Because I'll be honest, I didn't do any research into this movie before watching it. Like it just kind of like popped up, and I watched it, and I also enjoyed it. So how did you feel about it?
Yeah, I went into it kind of blind. Like I knew a little bit about it just because I'd seen like a trailer or 2 here and there, like or commercial. So I knew there was like the whole like sea person aspect to it. but I didn't really know like what it was going to be, like the scope or anything. But I just kind of went into it, and I was very charmed by it. Like I don't think it's anything like Soul was a really ambitious movie, and it's one that's like definitely much more catered to like adults that grew up with Pixar and are still Pixar fans. So it's a lot more like adult in its themes, but it's like accessible to children. And I really enjoyed Soul. I have some gripes with it in terms of like the narrative, but all in all, like I think it's a great movie. It's beautiful. I enjoyed a lot about it. And Luca is definitely like when you compare it to a movie like Soul, it's a much smaller scale in terms of like the scope of the universe that it's built. And I think even in terms of like other Pixar movies, like you look at like Monsters Inc. and it's like this full fleshed out world of like monsters and stuff like that. Like Luca is very like it takes place in a small town or like an island, right? Like it's got that very like it's got a very small feel to it. But that's kind of what I liked about it. I kind of liked that it was this like almost like this slice of life kind of thing, and you kind of just spend more time with these select characters instead of building out this really robust world. Because like I was expecting the like the underwater thing to be a lot more prominent. Like I thought we were going to see a lot more characters or like cities and stuff that are underwater, and it's like extremely low key. Like it's actually kind of crazy how small the water portion of the movie feels. And I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, no, I felt exactly the same way. It was weird, like for a movie about sea monsters and you only really see that like first like 10 minutes of the movie like really like kind of hit on that, which was odd to say the least. And I gotta say, like I love how good Pixar has gotten at like animating water. Like that's always a great benchmark for how far animation has come, because the water in this movie, it looks real. I believed I was on the beach.
Yeah, I mean the Soul was gorgeous looking, and this is no exception. Luca is like, it's really beautiful, and it's kind of funny because I'm Italian, so I just really appreciated like the setting and the context of this movie, but. I kind of joke that I sometimes I feel like a fake Italian because my family is also very Pennsylvania Dutch. So a lot of the traditions of my family are much more centered around the Pennsylvania Dutch side than the Italian side. So like I'm not quite as connected to the Italian culture as I would like to be, but it's there. It's in my blood, and I have an appreciation for it. So it was really nice to just have like this really just like wholesome tribute to this like kind of Italian like world that they built. So I had a lot of sentimentality for that, and just seeing like the environments that they built and like the Italian architecture and things like that. I just found it really charming, and I think that's part of like why it kind of maybe spoke to me a little bit more than I expected it to. So, I really enjoyed it, and the like it's kind of small in its scale, but it's also like I think it really allowed for some of the character dynamics to feel a little bit more real, and that was like something that was like stuck out the most to me. Like I really like the relationship between Luca and Alberto.
Yes.
And I think Alberto's character is just such an interesting kid who is like abandoned by his father and just kind of lives on his own and is like taken more to the human side of life than the sea monster side, and kind of initially acts as like this role model and guide for Luca, but then Luca learns that Alberto actually doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It's like kind of that like childish like kid on the playground who's like, did you know that you can like capture Mew 3. Like he's like Luca, like, Alberto has that energy of like, yeah, I've been to the moon, and I don't know, I really love that about him. And it becomes like a conflict later in the movie when you know, like they go from a twosome to a threesome, and it's like that trio kind of like starts to interfere with like how Alberto sees himself in his friend group. As Luca kind of learns that there's like more to this world that Alberto himself doesn't know, but Alberto's trying to be like the leader, but it's kind of being taken away from him by gosh, I don't even know how to pronounce her name. That's how
Julia,
like fake Italian. It's like Julia,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. So, like, and she's just like a really charming character too. I thought she was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Or Spulia, because she has a vomiting problem, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she can't hold down her pasta.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like the vibes of like kind of like this like the family, like that's always a thing in Pixar movies. But I really do like this kind of like lost family, and this kind of like the acceptance of people who are different. And I think it just like, especially with the last year that we've had, I think this movie is like surprisingly poignant in like those themes. So yeah, I don't know. It just the character moment that really spoke the most to me. I've been ranting a little bit here, apologies, but I think the moment good. Like I got like legitimately like I teared up when Luca like betrays Alberto.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
that
was
hit
so
me
sad.
hard.
Yeah,
that was rough.
Yeah, dude, it was so sad because like, you know, there has to be like some sort of conflict, and I do think the story is like kind of like I don't want to say it's like the weakest aspect of this movie because like, but it was those moments were just so poignant, and like watching Alberto just like, you know, crawl back into the ocean after Luca betrayed him was like so upsetting. But the payoff for when he's like, you know, riding on the bike and like saves him from like, you know, at the last leg of the triathlon to like save him, like made it all the worth it in the end. And you know, Pixar is going to give you those like cute character moments, and I don't know, I loved like so much of like that. I love the art direction in this movie. Like I was saying, like I do think that like Soul definitely like appealed to like the older crowd, and you can kind of tell that the people look a little bit more like realistic, like the environments look like, you know, photorealistic, which is like kind of crazy. But like I do like it was funny. I kept saying the whole movie, I'm just like, oh wow, this movie takes place in that one Studio Ghibli movie, because they kept saying Porto Rosso. I'm just like, oh, I was like, where have I heard that before? I feel like I was
Hold the pork.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I thought the movie was fun. I saw some reviews that said that this movie was like good dinosaur like level of Pixar, which I feel like is like very like offensive, because like I remember nothing about The Good Dinosaur, and like I'm gonna remember a lot of set pieces from this movie. Is it like gonna like crack my top 10 Pixar movies anytime soon? Probably not, but like I definitely don't regret my decision to watch this movie, because it was a beautiful watch.
Yeah, I feel that. I don't think it's in my top 5. Maybe it would break into the top 10, maybe, but I'm not sure. But it was just like a pleasant, nice story, and I enjoyed it for what it was. And it's funny, like I recognized Maya Rudolph right away as the mom, and then
she was great.
I could not place Jim Gaffigan for like the longest time. I'm like, who is that voice? And then I think I was watching it with Jared actually, and Jared's like, oh yeah, Jim Gaffigan, and I was like, oh, that's who I'm hearing. That was like, I wasn't expecting him in the movie, but I thought he definitely plays like that, like kind of like, what is it, like, I don't know, kind of like beta dad, I don't know. And I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah. No, he kind of like dads up later in the movie, but he definitely has like that kind of like energy in the early on where it's just like, yeah, just whatever, just goes with it. And I thought he was very funny in that role. The role that really got me, like Jared and I went back and like we rewinded the movie at the end just to watch the scene again, is Sacha Baron Cohen as the uncle.
Oh my god, I didn't even pin that. Oh my
I didn't realize it was him either, but we saw his name in the credits and we're like, oh my god. So we went back and watched it, and it was like even funnier knowing that it was him. But that uncle character is hilarious. I was like, I called it too, because when the credits rolled and we didn't see the uncle again, I'm like, we gotta get a post-credit scene with that uncle. He was way too funny, and sure enough, there was. That character was so good. I was really the one thing I really wanted from Luca that we didn't get is I wanted to see the uncle's like human form, and we never got to see it.
Yeah. Oh man, Luca 2. There we go.
There it is.
That's the plot. What I'm looking most forward to doing is going back through this movie like frame by frame, and I think this is the great part about having it on a streaming service like so early, because I love looking for the Pixar Easter egg for their next film. And
Yes.
I forget what Pixar's next film doesn't come out until next March, I think, which I think that's the one where like the girl turns into like the red panda or something, because I think they have 2 films.
Oh, I'm so excited for a red panda movie.
Yeah,
right. My favorite animal is the red
that's
panda.
True.
So
that's
you
right.
don't have to sell me on anything else other than that it's a red panda movie. I'm there. I'm in it.
I think there's that, and I think the Buzz Lightyear like origin story like comes out next summer.
Yeah, and that looks sick.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
What a cool idea for a movie. I think if Pixar goes in that direction of like instead of just making sequels and instead just take like random pieces of their lore and expand upon that, I would be super into it.
Yeah, like as much as I like it's because like I've recently watched Monsters University again, and I'm just like, you know what? This film isn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be. Like,
it's fine. It's a fine movie.
It's fine. It's and I like that. Like you expand upon like the world that you've already built, where it's like, oh yeah, like how did like Sully and Mike end up in Monsters Inc. when they're like very clearly like, I don't know, going to college.
Yeah.
That's a weird way to explore it.
But even that is like that's like a different thing than what Lightyear's doing, because Monsters U, it's like it's a prequel, and I think like I don't necessarily want more prequels, because it's like I don't necessarily want more sequels, but like Lightyear is taking like something that exists within the Toy Story universe, which is that Lightyear, like Buzz Lightyear, is a character that like, you know, it's not our Buzz Lightyear. It is like an actual TV show and like character that exists in universe in Toy Story, and that's where the toy Buzz Lightyear comes from. So taking like that idea and being like, this movie is about like the Buzz Lightyear that exists within the universe of Toy Story, that is fun. I think that's really cool. And I don't necessarily like off the top of my head know like what other things you could do with other things in universe in the Pixar verse, so to speak. But like, I think that's a really fun direction to explore.
Yeah, no, I agree, and like I'm excited to see Chris Evans in the helm of Buzz Lightyear. Chris Evans is a phenomenal actor. You know, outside of the Marvel stuff, obviously he's a great you know.
Pilgrim.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim, baby. Like he was a
full
great,
circle.
Yeah, he was a great evil X. It's amazing how we wrap it up like that. But yeah, and I think we originally planned to do like our top 5 favorite Pixar movies. I think we'll save that for a second podcast once we get to like the dog days of summer.
Yeah.
To have you back to you know, arbitrarily rank things that everybody seems to enjoy. I imagine that at least 2 Cars films are gonna crack your top 5, Cam.
You've got me pegged. Got me all figured out.
Ka-chow, baby, as the kids say. Do they still say that? I don't know.
They all say it.
Owen Wilson's back in the zeitgeist again with Loki. So I mean, I think people might be going back.
Oh right.
Wait, he voiced the car? It's like, yeah, he voiced the car 3 times and almost died. Spoiler alert.
Yep. Yeah. Cars 3 is I think I said this before, but Cars 3 is the best of the Cars movies.
I agree.
It's like,
I think it's a lot of fun.
It's like an actually good movie. It's still not in my top 5, but it's the best of the Cars movies. It took them 3 movies, but they finally figured it out.
Yeah, but we will save that for a later summer day. But listen,
teaser.
Yeah, listen. Technical difficulties aside today, buddy. I always appreciate sitting down and talking to you. Thank you so much for gracing me with your presence today to talk about the things that we love the most, which is animated movies and Sonic the Hedgehog. I feel like we hit both of our bases nicely today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me back on. It's always a pleasure. I pray for the day that we can have an episode that doesn't have some technical difficulties. That would be nice.
Maybe one day I hope one day to do like a live Koop'd Up, like with like people in like my house and stuff. And now that we're vaccinated, we can totally be able to pull that off. It's a thing
for sure.
Maybe in the next coming months we'll both be in the same area sometime.
Yeah,
can't promise anything.
I wish you had an editor. I would edit it for you, but I'm busy and I don't want to.
I'll work on it.
But I don't know if you could just cut out the gaps. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure. I'll figure something out. Nonetheless,
Yeah.
though, that is going to be it for our podcast today. So, Cam, let the people know at home where they can find you, what you've been up to, what you do on a regular basis.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me on. I am on Twitch.tv. You can follow me there at Camalange, Camalange. I'm streaming Sonic Adventure 2. That's why I've been talking so highly about it. But yeah, it drives me nuts. I'm trying to collect all 180 emblems for the first time in my life. So just watch me get like increasingly more annoyed as I get to the harder levels in the game. But I'm having a lot of fun there. And then you can follow me on Twitter as well, Camalange. So that's where I'm primarily active. And then if you're really like, man, I can't get enough of this Camalange guy, you can go on YouTube on Camalange. I have a bunch of Sonic Unleashed runs on there, which my hope is that once I complete Adventure 2 on Twitch, I have an Xbox, then the new Xbox, and I have a copy of Sonic Unleashed. So I'm planning on streaming a playthrough of Unleashed, and then I will inevitably turn that into me trying to S rank all those levels again and try to beat my previous times. So lots of stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, no, listen, as someone that's watched you speedrun Dragon Road IRL in your room, it was mesmerizing. It was like discovering what Disney was for the first time. It was very, very cool.
Oh, wow, I'm honored.
Anytime, buddy. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us this week, folks. Again, follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ. Follow the show on Twitter at Coop'dPod, and of course, stay tuned for all of where we pop up on all your podcasting platforms: Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Make sure to like us, leave a review if you can. Let the people know where you can find us. And until then, folks, have yourselves a wonderful evening and take care.